Hello.
G'day, mate. How are we?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. It's nice and early down here in Australia, so just kind of
Oh,
making sure I'm nice and awake for this one. But
yeah, it's early, right?
yeah,
What you
five
got there?
5:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow, I'm so sorry. Awful little of me. I appreciate you, you have a long, productive day ahead of you.
No, I do. I do. You get me up early, so I've got no excuse not to go to the gym now and everything. But mate, you were the
Yeah.
first ever interview I did when I started doing journalism. So I thought, you know what, for
Oh,
Johannes, I can get up and do this there. So yeah, that's not a
well,
problem at all.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know a lot's come since that way. I think you were in a hotel room in Melbourne was the last time I spoke to you in
hmm
2023. And hopefully you come down this way again.
Yeah, it's too soon for me to say announcements, but pencil and calendar is slowly starting to turn into ink
Ooh.
with how things are supposed to line up
Oh,
now.
oh yeah.
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 So it's happening for sure.
No, beautiful, beautiful. Well, mate, and also congratulations on the new album coming out now. Of course, it came out on Halloween. Perfect timing for you guys. It
hmm
doesn't always line up with a Friday, but lo and behold, how's it been the reception for this album so far? I personally, massive fan of it.
Thank you. Well, it's been very positive. I could have helped myself then to Google reviews and seeing the averages, and it was, high enough that way I don't have to go and live in a bunker. But that being said, we're on tour, so the people most likely to get us are the people I'm put in front of night after night and everything. But yeah, the new stuff, you can tell also it's been over a week on the road now. Has it been 2 weeks? We reached a point where I lost count on sense of geography and everything. You can tell now that it's been out for a little bit that you can tell in the audience because we almost a third of the set is new material because that's what we do, and they started to blend in.
Yeah.
They're part of the bigger mythology now already. So that's a good sign.
How was it when you first started playing these songs live? Because I caught you over in Frankfurt opening for Maiden. How was that whole experience as well? Like, because a lot of those new songs were kind of debuted on that tour, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. However, uh, even on a good day in our, in our strongholds, still, I think maybe 10% of the audience would know us well.
Yeah.
I'm sure more knew something of us, but knew us well beforehand. So everything was new to most people there. So you don't really feel that on a run
Mm.
like that. Um, so so it didn't really make much of a difference. It's actually therefore a kind of neat way to present the songs because
Yeah.
and engage it. And like that I felt it all went over really well once we got to know, because there is also something that happens, right? Like I always, I don't know if it's pretentious, but it makes total sense to me, the view of what being in a band is.
Mm.
If you want it to be, it can be that it's a multimedia concept art project,
Yeah.
meaning that it's not just songs and then putting a pretty bow on it and trying to sell it. The pretty bow can also be an artistic endeavor, meaning the performing side of the arts or the packaging or how we dress and everything. It all comes from the same way we think as we think about our songs. Uh, and with that, there's a certain degree of getting to know your music once it is on stage,
Mm.
because a writer goes on vacation for a while once you record and everything,
Yeah.
and hand it over to the performing artist who's like, the fuck is this? And just in terms of just movement and feeling what it is to, because yeah, we rehearse the song together, record them together, and do all that, but to bring them out on stage together, to see how the music actually makes does it make my feet move, my hips move, or my neck move, or everything all at once and all that, and getting to know that in front of an audience who come in pretty fresh, who don't really know the difference
Yeah.
in that initial, if Eagle Has Landed is a new song or Captain Goat. It's, I don't know, it had something. And also there you can also test the effect, because our own audience is of course way nicer and forgiving, and they bring so much more of, they have the relationship going with us already, which the acid energy is different. And on there can on the very first couple of times you do a new song in that environment, they stand out, at least in our heads, maybe a bit more like a sore thumb in that I don't know what to do yet, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the opening way of doing it is kind of beneficial.
With Captain Goat Live too, which worked surprisingly well in that arena
Hmm.
setting. It filled out the whole arena because I was right at the
Yeah.
back. You know,
Yeah. I think slower music is very forgiving in an arena,
yeah,
which made us, you know, at some point uh, early on, very early in our lives, has started to play live and stuff, and always liking, speed metal freaks, death black metal freaks, like
yeah,
extreme music freaks, and like uh, how at some point I think was this, but how do you bring that in that bigger room we dream of to do one day? And it was a bit of a concern, but then I remember I've seen Slayer in a stadium. I've seen first thing like that I saw was that In Flames opened for Iron Maiden way back when at home in Gothenburg, and then they played like Graveland or something. So duka duka duka, and like, phew, okay, it works. But saying that, slower songs, it's a very forgiving thing to do in front of a lot of people.
yeah.
Somehow it lands.
I was going to say because in the airwaves work just as well as Captain Goat, and that's yeah,
Yeah,
they're completely two different tempos as well. When it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when it came into writing and choosing the singles for this album as well, did you have the hand in the singles? I've talked to a lot of people these days, and they go, "Oh, we just hand it over to the label to choose the singles," or do you guys really? Because the music videos for you guys are so
Mm.
wacky. Let's just say at the end of the day,
Yeah, I think in the beginning. I've going back to, as we mentioned, the Eagles slander. That was around that time. I certainly felt you're here with the songs, and
mm,
and because of the writing process, where you might be at the very when that is discussed, you have a big picture idea when you put the song together. But in the studio, might be here about, oh, the tambourine makes this song so cool, or whatever you
yeah,
add on at the end, which is not a line of thinking necessarily where your call, you know,
mm,
where your vote matters very much. But over the years, I think there was something transitional, something or growth that happened around doing Feathers of Flesh and Avatar Country because those were concept albums.
yeah,
None of the albums post that has been a proper concept album, but thinking big picture alongside with individual parts, keeping track on what's going on while zooming in on details, and having a red thread in what you do, that I think that improved so much over those few years that I I think speaking for myself at least, but I think everyone in the band is in a similar place. We're more capable of having, oh yeah, I do the thumbs up.
I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Uh, um, I think I have a better ability to do that nowadays, and it feels like, now the last two albums have been released on Black Walls Records, meaning our own label. So you
Yeah,
kind of, you want to wear a big ass songwriter artist hat, but you have a little, I don't know, a little record executive scarf on with you as well through the process,
yeah,
because it's really your baby now. And so yeah, we were definitely more part of the conversation, and it was a method to the madness with, okay, Captain Goat first. Again, it's catchy and direct. It should hope. I mean, it all should work on a first listen. Even when we are more complex, complexity is just if it takes away from an immediate visceral something. To me, it's for why I want to achieve a waste of time. That being
yeah,
said, Captain Goat hopefully goes straight to the balls, you know,
yeah.
but it still felt different enough from what we've done in the past. So the whole Avatar thing of always wanting to try something new, that you start out straight out of the gate like, okay, hello everyone, everything's different again, have fun. And but also with that, oh, and also by the way, we recorded the fastest song that we have recorded since,
Yeah.
I don't know, since 2009, So let's put that out. Isn't that fun? And of course, Warriors, we saw potential that it could travel as a song
Mm.
just because of the type of song it ended up being, with that kind of chorus and everything. And finally, Don't Go to Forest. title track for a bunch of reasons, and also the one that almost get the Warriors treatment in terms of marketing. So there's some method to the madness, and I think we're better at having those conversations and not getting in your own way, being so stuck in why shouldn't this be single? This is the best 8 minutes guitar solo we ever did, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. I saw it's interesting as well. You haven't busted out the title track in the live setting yet. Any reason behind that one?
Um, well, spoiler, it's being worked on. We do pretty long shows,
Yeah,
and we do them because because it works. We feel
yeah,
the theatrical and the dynamic that we because yeah, because of the variation in our catalog, we can be very dynamic so that we can make quite a journey. I don't from standing on stage, our shows do not feel very long. And I believe, and from the audience, where we feel we are at with the people in the room at the end of the show, I don't think we wore them out.
yeah,
We were kind of still like, you know, you still don't want to overdo it because there's so much we could and would like to play. Uh, but once and the set list, because of the production, the style of production we do, it has to be pretty damn pre-planned.
yeah, yeah,
And with the light rig and everything that we use and the show elements and the structure, even it just fucking code switches I make.
yeah.
So there's all this. So changing the set list at this point is a big deal. But we did feel we put out the song, the album, the song, the video, and went, oops. Um, but it's a 17 song set list right now, and the last run for the most part was 18. So
Mm.
yeah, there's room to fix.
No, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, because I'm a massive fan of that. I remember when I had it because I was lucky enough to get the album about a week before it came out. I was listening. I was like, oh god, I can't wait for people to hear this. I just knew instantly. I was like, that's going to be the last single. That's going to be the D-Day single when it drops. That's going to
Mm.
be it, and I love it. I mean, with the music videos as well. Did you have a favorite out of the ones you did? Because I'm thinking of it now as I'm talking to you. I'm like, I like them all for different reasons. They're all fun and quirky in their own way. Even Deaf and Glitz, which was a
Mm.
visualizer until the very end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah. So I think liking it for different reasons, you kind of hit the nail on the head there
Mm.
with what pleased me a lot, and also it was done in such an intense, a lot in a very short period. So no, they all for very good reasons um, that I like them. Captain Goat, when it comes to making them, I do. There's a little, there's some machismo in taking on new challenges as far as I don't know what to call stunt, but lip syncing music underwater for a
Yeah.
whole day and all that was a cool and towards the end grueling, but mostly fun, cool challenge. And the other parts of it, I got to sit down mostly and fall on a mattress, and my brother played the goat, so we got to hang, and that was cool.
Yep.
Uh, then it was ultra liberating to do uh, airwaves,
Yep.
pure performance sweat, the way we did music videos when we were, again, way younger and did those kind of fast songs all the time. Uh, and liking the result of that. Warriors, well, the fact that it were miniatures rather than CGI, the heads of what kind of video we make was a lot of fun with it. And
Yep.
because it was so, the little comedy bits and everything in it, it was very fun to shoot. But I would say because that kind of video and Captain Goat is in our has been in our wheelhouse, a story with a beginning, middle, and end and all of that. Uh, and we did well on that again, and I felt we grew
Yep.
in making those kind of things. That being said, I think because we always had, when having a cool visual idea, start to ask questions that would lead to some kind of script and a little story. The fact that we now had solid enough visual ideas to take a step back and let music videos be illustrations of the music, meaning airwaves, and even more so, Don't Go in the Forest. I
Mm.
got a total kick out of that because it's a simpler video to make writing wise, but it's been a challenge for us to maybe let an aesthetic idea really be the driving force behind a music video. And Don't Go the Forest, we got to borrow heavily with Susie and the Banshees and more than anything, The Cure,
Yeah.
Just Like Heaven. And to lean in on that was things we liked and had talked, the kind of things we talk about every time and never quite, and then ended up, yeah, but then we can travel to the moon and fight tentacles and whatever we've done in the past. But this time we did a music video. Plus, I sat down for a good chunk of it, which is after staying 8 hours in a swimming pool and ice on fire was pretty neat. So, like you said, everyone for good reasons, but maybe it's just that Forest is the most recent one, always helps as well.
I like that one too because it had the animatronics, which is great. It was great not to see
Yeah,
CGI and them do the classic like sing along with the backing vocals. Because I don't know, as a kid, I watched the Three Amigos repeatedly growing up, and it just reminded me when they were all around the fire. And just all the little cheap animatronics were singing
yeah,
along.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it was yeah, it was a nostalgic throwback I wasn't expecting.
And
But
it hits something weird, magical, like the uncanny valley of it, I
mm,
guess, has something to do with, and the nostalgic factor that you described. There's something, yeah, it tickles a nerve, I think, in people,
yeah,
those kind of things. Uh, that's really, it helps set an atmosphere because it's a bit silly looking, but
yeah.
for some people, I think it's a bit creepy, and it's in the, I don't know, in a weird landscape between those things for most of us that it's a bit magical.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
Christmas special, or something.
you're not wrong at all. And look, you get that though. You had those all those singles come out before the album drops, and I could have easily
Mm,
have seen Abduction some, or even more so, Howling at the Waves could have been something. I noticed Howling at the
mm.
Waves is in the set list, so very happy
Yeah,
about
that's
that
fun.
too, because that's a for one of your ballad songs. That's overtaken Tower as my favorite. I think lyrically,
Thank you.
everything the way it builds up is just great.
Thank you.
Like awesome, awesome. So how's that been going live as well? Can only imagine.
Well, I know how to, I can play it live now, so that's good. Because part of it, to make Turn It In like that, a lot of it came from just that I was during sound checks because we did Tower live.
Mm,
Uh, at some here and there, John would join in on drums towards the end of the song, and that led to ideas that ended up being this. And just, I mean, there's nothing revolutionary about having piano and drums and a full band setting in a song, that's
yeah,
fairly common, but we hadn't done it. So that was such a cool trip. And because there's singing and playing stuff live, haven't done a ton. It's the song I probably practiced the most in my years in
oh
the
wow,
band. Yeah, just because, I never had to play something live, like,
yeah,
Tower, then it's just me.
yeah.
So if it flows a little bit, that's cool. But suddenly you have to be locked in and everything. And first show now was in Mexico City, um, which we couldn't have all this logistics made it impossible that this US tour production couldn't be down there.
Yeah.
So, we rented stuff. We still did not put on a huge show, but we had an extended sound check of just, okay, you're gonna walk on there at that time, and I'm gonna walk off there, and with a coach and we kind of created the theatrics around the show on the fly.
Mm.
And the piano comes in then, and I'm gonna go from here, and I'll put on that jacket. And in that whole thing, we forgot to say, and who puts the microphone on the mic stand on the piano? And I was so in my head because this is world premiere for me playing, that song, play piano with the band live. So I'm just going out like, okay, I got this. I practiced so much. I'm so ready. So I didn't look up. I sit down and start playing and look up, and I have no microphone. So I start yelling while playing one chord. Bow, mic, bow, microphone, bum, 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 idiots, dun, dun. And it's in front of me last second. What a day. Oh, thank God. But then the premiere nerves, the performance, the
Yeah.
that kind of song nerves that I had in check barely. My hands were like this, and it takes a third of the song. The first chorus was pure whack-a-mole
Yeah.
on the piano. I just no 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 no. It's just, but it's all. It's all, oh, it's an A minor, so it's only the white keys. It has to be one of these, and then the other two thirds went better, and now I finally feel like I'm playing because you want to practice things so much that you get the thinking out of the way.
Yeah.
But then the first time you do it live, or even first couple of times with some songs, you go back to the thinking.
Mm,
So, and the thing is, when you play any kind of music, you don't want to think of individual notes, individual words when you sing, right? You want to create phrases.
yeah.
But the little arpeggio pattern I play turned into like that I realized thinking for each key I hit, like that one, 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 that one. And last 3, 4 shows now, it's like, ba-da-da-da-da, you start
Yeah.
feel like a piano player. So no, it's been an adventure, but it goes over well. Again, that's one of those you can tell the album's been out for a week now.
Yeah. Yeah.
People had a couple of listens, so it's starting to make sense to people what we have done.
I never thought about it before because, yeah, I'm a vocalist myself, and it would be nerve wracking because it's so naked that song doing it for the first time. It's not like, in the airwaves we can get away. Well, I can hide behind the drums and guitars a
Yeah,
little bit, and I'm screaming, I don't need to worry about key
and
as
also
much.
and also the nature of the instruments, because I play when when I write songs, I record demos, or you
Mm,
know in family related settings or whatever. I sit and sing, whatever, and uh, but also the way that you're a singer, so it's the quintessential lead instrument
yeah.
in what your job is,
Yeah.
and that gives you some leeway to potentially jazz it up. You can push a bit, pull a bit, you can
Yeah.
play around if the others are locked in. And then, and again, millions of musicians do this, play the rhythm guitar in a band or the bass while singing, or their drums doing it. But for me, because I only ever in Avatar had to relate to the music live as a lead musician,
Mm,
suddenly to have the job of being locked in, so really, so there's the bass, there's the drums, and here I am,
yeah.
part of that. So where are we? And then still wanna, liberate your voice to not, because again, it could be because it is that one, that one, that one, that one, that, to not go crying on the to be stuck
Oh,
in
I know. I know. Yep. Yep.
kind of
Yep.
counting along with your voice. So that yeah, now that's unlocked. So now I don't know what I want to play on the next album. to,
Already
but now
thinking.
now it's fun to do this. Now I
Yeah.
survived so far.
Hey, it's one thing to challenge yourself more and more as you grow as a musician. That's the one thing you can't not do is learn. And going back to the live show setting, because you were speaking of setting up on the fly, because I saw it at the
Mhm.
Metro Theatre in Sydney, and all of a sudden you're up on a balcony making balloon animals. Like, how much
Yeah,
pre-planning of that, or do you get to the venue and go, right, that door goes to here, so I can
that's
pop up
exactly it.
there?
So our
Yeah,
stage manager Harry
yeah,
always scouts a path. We kind of between him, I, and the light guy.
yeah,
Where can where would it look cool if I appeared? How do we get there? And we learned this from Vegas magicians, because if everybody looks on the scene, like those kind of things where someone you have a double on stage or something that makes that people think you're up there, you can
mm,
freely walk in the audience usually and just poof pop up somewhere, and most people will not even notice, even if you're next to them.
yeah,
They won't know that you're there. Then people start to anticipate it with us because it became a running thing. But so Harry and I go for a run, and I remember Glasgow, because sometimes that back door is on the other side of a huge building, and
yeah,
or in Monterrey in Mexico, I think we ran around the block literally. I think it was Monterrey, and one of those cities where also there's some elevation to it,
yeah.
and this venue was newly renovated, and they hadn't quite. I mean, sometimes the Mexico rules, fire hazard rules or stuff like that is not as, as enforced as they would be in Europe, which means that that place, whatever it was so full of people.
Mm,
So I had to run around an entire block to get to that back door and then push ourselves through the crowd. And Harry, he's so black. He was almost passing out when we arrived to where we needed to
oh,
be.
wow.
And ironically, because how the stage was, that was up on a bucket. It was 3 meters to the right of me standing on stage were stairs to get up there.
Yeah.
But then everyone would see me. And that defeats the entire purpose of the magic appearance. So there's been a lot of that. I don't remember Sydney being particularly hard though. I think those venues in Australia, we didn't have a long run on those.
No, no, it was good though. Yeah, and I remember because you did just magically appear up, and the light goes over there. I'm like, oh, that's where you went. Because you never know when an artist goes off stage. It's sometimes quick water break because you don't want to do it on stage, you know. So you never think about it
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. So,
That's actually a thing for the next album because touring with Iron Maiden, I
mm,
started to notice. So that's why you have long songs. Bruce has so many breaks.
yeah,
So right now, as a singer and and very much not a lead guitar player in my style of writing, also, I've now started to focus on writing longer leads on what might end up on the next album and more instrumental parts.
yeah.
So just I can fuck off for a while.
Hey, mate, it's a good idea. I remember
Brilliant.
watching Hello Be My Name for the first time live, and I was at one of those seats where I could kind of see behind the curtain. And he's just
Yeah,
back there having his water, patting his face down, changing his beanie to a hat and everything. So, yeah,
yeah,
with the amount of costume changes
brilliant.
you do, a couple of long
Yeah.
songs wouldn't go astray at all.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And because we look for certain intensity in our songs, we should have this instrumental part and we should go straight into let's skip the pre-chorus here even and go straight to the chorus the second time. We like this bam 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 in so
Yeah,
many songs. And it's a great idea in the studio when we record part by part and then it's always this and now you have to learn the song from beginning to end and and perform it live. And I mean, and over the years they do get manageable because, you grow accustomed to it. And I don't know, I push my fitness level all the time to the
yeah,
best of my ability. But Eagles Landed was a nightmare in the beginning, I remember. And now Dance Devil Dance is a merciless song.
yeah,
There's no individual line that is, I mean, it's relatively high for my range, but still very much within what I do. But it stays there for most of the song, and the breathing is you kind of have to hyperventilate
jeez,
for the so you scream your lungs out on the verses. That goes into this hyperventilating pre-chorus, straight into holding the long notes and stuff on the chorus.
yeah,
And again, we shortened the riffs and everything to keep that boom, boom, boom going for most of the song because that sounded the best on the album.
yeah.
And then I remember, uh-oh.
Hey, lesson learned at the end of the
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah. No, not at all actually, because I have ideas. But you
Yeah,
you just, you just buy bigger what I've been saying lately is like one part of what we do as a band with all the projects that we like to bite off more than we can chew.
yeah,
And then hopefully instead of choking on it, we grow more teeth.
yeah.
So, so that's the idea with those kind of things. And I don't know, keeps you young, I guess that it's something like the discomfort of in the beginning, your insecurities, your ultra ambition, your naivety, and all that things that can drive you very early on. The nature of that we are lucky enough to still be here
Mm,
uh, just means that we also have an opportunity to get used to a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
And it feels like with what we are looking for and what excites us in making this music and the stuff we are fans of, you don't want to be too comfortable.
no,
Again, why this ordeal of playing whack-a-mole on the piano in Mexico City is so important for us to keep it fresh. And that also goes into hyperventilating, excuse me, while performing live.
yeah, and that's what keeps Avatar at the end of the day. Because I'm one of those YouTube guys that does the reaction videos, and I did one for
Mhm.
every song on this one, and every comment is like, "I love that Avatar sounds like Avatar and doesn't sound like Avatar on every single song." And I think that's hard to do so many albums in as well. It'd be
Yeah,
easy just to have everything go. Okay, here's the formula. But
but I think more bands could do this though, because
mm,
we as who inspires you and we can make a list of bands that have inspired the most people in the band and we all look up to then for the most part, and you can put Beatles there, let's put Queen, let's put Zeppelin,
yeah,
listen to those kind of bands, the variation, the new stuff they tried, learn a new trick, bought a new instrument, learn how how those bands Queen always sounded like Queen. A night at the opera is such you know, an Avatar album in the sense of all kinds of stuff is happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, Beatles, how they in an 8-year period of record as recording artists, how much because they learned new tricks or someone brought a new trinket to the studio and they're like, oh, let's use this. But it always sounded like themselves because they wrote it and they played it,
Mm,
and that's enough. That's the sound, you know. Most of us are not good enough to sound like other people just because we try a couple of different chords.
yeah,
So, and I feel like now in metal we stand out because it's so formulaic many times. And love AC/DC, love Motorhead. There's also that path,
yeah, yeah,
and it has its merits. But I think a lot of bands, you know, become lesser versions of themselves because they got a taste of some kind of success or even satisfaction for themselves in something they did, and I think they kind of oh, so this is it then, this is what we do.
yeah,
No, no, no,
yeah,
you do you, and you wanna I mean the angst, the kind of angst that would fuel into lyrics in my 20s or writing in the 20s, it would be very sad if I still was going through the same things now.
yeah,
Hence, going back to that song like Howling at the Waves, that's a song of relationships have been part of songs in the past, but that's the most married man
yeah.
singing to spouse and the ups and downs of that song that couldn't possibly have been written 10 years ago
Mm.
and hopefully won't be written in 10 years. There should be a different angle on it at that point, and you have to, I believe in embracing all of that all the time.
Yeah, no, I think change is important because I think, especially with music, it's a piece of art, but it's also a stamp in time. And you can be like, this is where I was
Exactly.
at this point in time. And,
Exactly.
you don't want to be
And
like, could you imagine people always go back like Slipknot, for example? It's like, why can't they redo Iowa? I'm like, because they're all angry alcoholics then. If they were rewriting that
yeah,
album now, it'd be a nightmare. But, mate,
it
well
would be
served.
say it would be very dark in
Yeah.
in not a good way.
No, no, it's like
Like,
there's a problem here. But
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
But mate, I better let you go. It's been a pleasure talking to you once again. Hopefully,
Likewise.
we'll do it again when that Australia tour eventually comes to
Absolutely.
fruition. No, I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you
Me
guys live
too.
again. Thank you, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy your day.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the tour.
I shall. Have a good one out there.
Cheers,
And yeah,
mate.
hit
Ta.
the gym. See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.